Hello everybody! I don't know where that voice came from, but you're welcome. Oh. I cannot hear thee.
We're here.
Oh, I can hear you now. That's better.
I muted myself so I could burp uninhibitedly.
Beautiful.
Well,
Well,
that's good.
let's start the show, shall we? Welcome
Oh,
to
we're
the
live.
very first episode, 7, of Games Assembled.
Oh my god, you said that live! Oh, I love it! I love it! Absolute professionals here.
The most professional gaming podcast on the old Tinterweb. But let's get some introductions out of the way. Joining me tonight is the one with all the bounce in his spring. Well, that's what the boys say anyway. It's Tigger time!
Hey! Oh, my spring is coiled for this show.
And she is the #1 lesbian fiction narrator as voted by her wife. With the trending hashtag of I got griefed by llama. It's llama.
Llama, llama, llama!
And of course I am naturally ginger. This didn't come out of a bottle. I am the beardy gamer.
Yeah!
Beardy!
Beardy, beardy, beardy!
The only beard I ever need.
Yeah.
What happens if you shave your beard?
I go back 10 years in time.
I want to see a
much.
picture of that.
Pretty much. I turn up going from beardy gamer to Twinkie gamer.
You'll have to change all of your tags there.
Exactly. That's what I told work when they said I needed to maybe trim it down a little bit. I was like, I have a brand. Like, can't do it, I'm afraid.
You're not the boss of me.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Wait, pay my bills.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been out in the sun yesterday.
I mean, I wasn't
I
going to
thought
say
that was just your
anything, but...
natural Irish.
No, it's the sun. The sun peeked over the clouds, and this is what happened.
This is
3 seconds of sunlight and you're bright red.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is why the UK government's COVID restrictions also include gingers not going out into the sun at all times, no matter which tier system they are currently in.
That's at the bottom in the fine print. I saw it.
Yeah, it's in the small print. If
There's
you
a
didn't
bottom
know,
in the fine print.
yep,
There's always a bottom, Tiggs.
yeah, there's always a bottom. If
And
you
we
didn't
hit the bottom.
know, this episode, if we manage to keep it on track, is gonna be about backwards compatibility. And is it really that important? So I'm gonna fire that question off straight from the hip. Generally, what is the consensus? Do you think that backwards compatibility is an important factor in the next generation or in generations moving forward? Llama.
Hell yes. I think absolutely. Games, you know, they're art. You've got the design, you've got the artwork, you've got the voice actors, you've got the storytelling. There's so much that goes into a game. They're an art form in and of themselves. So to relegate it to an old console that doesn't exist anymore and then can't be enjoyed by new people is ridiculous. As long as it still looks okay.
You graphics whore. You graphics
Yeah, a
whore.
little bit. Or, you know, they do like this, they make the screen smaller when you play it on your giant TV. Still looks
Yeah.
okay. Like, you gotta, don't stretch it out on a 4K telly with like my 8 bits. 'Cause that's just, it's terrible.
Yeah.
You've got
It's
8
just-
bits.
Yeah. We can see
So many bits.
we can see all 8 bits on the screen at once. Tiggs, do you think it's that important?
I really do. Like, look, like Llama said, I want to be able to play games from years ago. Like, gaming is part of your childhood, and like, if you're into art or whatever, I've got a favorite artist. I can go and look at his paintings or get a book or check them out online. With games, you should be able to do the same thing. And 3 words for you: bust a groove. Sony, if you're watching this,
The very
They're definitely watching.
please,
yeah, they're
please.
currently scouting out Twitch influencers to send PS5s to early right this second, and this podcast is definitely going to hold as a position for one.
It's gonna put us right over the top. They weren't sure before,
Yeah.
but with
It's
that
just-
professional intro,
Yeah.
we are
I was
on
gonna-
the list.
I was literally about to say that professional intro, but like the backward compatibility thing, they need to look at how games developers need to look at how they do it as well. So there's all these remakes these days where you get to pay a premium price for something that you've already played about 20 times. I don't. Some of them are good, and like the Final Fantasy VII remake was excellent, but it depends on how they do backward compatibility. I would love to have like the full back catalogue of PlayStation. My mum loves Cool Borders. She's like, did they ever make any more of them? And I was like, no, sorry.
I'm afraid not, Mum.
I mean, the other option, I suppose, is that you just keep making the same game over and over again. I think, as much as I say I don't want to buy the same game 3 times because the console's moved on, I have actually bought Skyrim like 4 times because they keep bringing out new versions and I need them.
Yep.
Are they on sale?
They're always on sale.
They're always on sale.
Everything's on sale.
So I'm gonna
as long as my wife's looking at it.
Throw a little curveball in there, and I'm gonna say like backwards compatibility is nice, but I don't think it's actually that essential.
Ooh, defend your position.
Yeah. Well,
why?
Because listen, the issues that you have with backwards compatibility is like Lama says, you pick up a game that's like, I love Knights of the Old Republic, and I bought that on Xbox because it's backwards compatible, blah 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 blah. I put it on and I'm reduced to this square, and it just doesn't feel like I can play the game that way. So then I just end up going playing it on PC or something like that. There's also games out there that, even though Microsoft champions Xbox's backwards compatibility, that they're not available on that system. So you're Naughty Bear, for example. I don't know if you remember a wonderful gem back in the day of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Chaos Bleeds. Such a good game. I love that game, but doesn't work on Xbox One, One S, One X, whatever it is. Just it doesn't work, and it's only selected titles that do. I think the argument that you should be able to bring a library forward with you does stand up to some extent, but when I move console generations, like, I'm moving into that next chapter, and I'm looking forward to playing the games that are developed for that console, for that system, for that gaming period. And arguably the biggest way to have backwards compatibility is the PC anyway. So do I really need my console to do that when I can pick up so many older games on PC and play them on PC?
Yeah, but you have to, like, not everybody is a PC gamer though. Like, I used to be a PC gamer in WoW days. That was that was it. That was really the extent of my PC gaming life, apart from whenever I was a kid and those point and click things. But like, I love console gaming. I love being comfy on my couch. I usually have a co-gamer right here, 1 or 2 of them, and it's nice just to sit and chill. Like, I don't want to be sat up in the seat. Like, no, I just want to be like, oh, I can chill, I can have a beer and play this, or whatever.
I completely respect that, but I'd also say, like, you know, if you want to play those, like, I have an original PS1 down here that I picked up from CEX. There are other second-hand providers out there, I must stress that. But I bought it from there so that I could play some of the old school PS1 games that I wanted to play. I planned to add a PS2, a PS3, an original Xbox. I already have a 360 into that collection to be able to play and not have limits when it comes back to old versions of games. And I just kind of feel like if you're that invested in playing those games, the best place to play them is probably on the original system that they were there for, because when you start moving things forward, you start getting these graphical glitches or things not quite lining up properly, or, you know, what happens if they just decide, Microsoft, for example, as we spoke about this before we went live, but YouTuber Yongye did a video about backwards compatibility on the Series X. He's managed to get hold of one because he's quite a big influencer and stuff out there. One day he's playing, yeah, just like that, just like us. I've got one in the back, but all my NDAs, like, they just don't want me to, like, show it off or anything like that, so, you know. So he was playing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, a game that came out last generation, a fantastic game. I urge you all to go and play it because it is such a phenomenal game. But one day he's playing it on backwards compatibility. Xbox sends out an update, the next day he can't play it anymore. And when he goes back to Microsoft to go, oh yeah, we've got some kinks that we're still working out, but preview units, these things are going to happen, but it literally just takes an update for them to stop being able to support a single game, and then where does that leave you?
Yeah, that's a fair point, and maybe that brings in the next sort of topic about remastering. So when they bring out new consoles or new systems or just a whole new generation of hardware, and then they remaster some of the old classic games, that's where the sweet spot is for me, because I still get the game that I love, but it's been tweaked to make it look better and look, and use as much of the capability of the new system as possible. The problem is they don't do that for every game. So, what I think is an awesome game, like Naughty Bear, clearly not enough people thought that was an awesome game because it wasn't remastered or it wasn't brought forward. So it's sort of hit and miss. Like, remaster's the way to go, but who remasters it? And do devs take away time from building new stuff and new IPs to remaster something they've already done?
And that was going to be my kind of next point leading into it is, do you think that developers should be putting those resources into making games backwards compatible, or should they be focusing on the next thing? We've got certain games like Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red's come out saying that they're putting a patch in for it to be like a smart delivery thing, so they've got the new PS5 version or Xbox Series X version is going to be included with no additional cost. Like, that's really cool, but should they not be focusing those resources and stuff on Cyberpunk when they've just had a big period where there's all this crunch and stuff to try and get the game out the door? Or could they not put those resources into the next game that they're working on? Because for all intents and purposes, Witcher 3 is still going to play on the next gen consoles through their native backwards compatibility. So do they need to do those things? And when it comes to remasters, I think that we should step away from just kind of slapping a new texture on there or something, and kind of taking a Resident Evil 2 approach and doing a reimagining, because I want to play... The one thing that I loved about that game is I play it and I remember the original, but it keeps me on my toes because certain things have changed, or there's certain things that are completely different this time round. So it's like a whole new experience. And I think it's really cool to play a game where you're playing it for the first time again.
It's an interesting point. I mean, I wish, like, in the ideal world, what I would like is, like cold case detectives, where like there's these cops and like they go after the old cases, and then there's other cops and they go after the new cases, and they both get done and they're both awesome. I want cold case detectives for video games. I want like a group of devs that are super talented to be like, look, I don't want to imagine the next big thing. I want to make the last big thing even bigger. That's what I want to do. And everyone's like, yeah, that's awesome. And then they go and they do that. And so there's like a group that just does that on all the good games that are worth it. And then, who decides? Me, obviously. That's who decides who's the good games. Obviously.
They all come together.
But then the other devs can, I own this place. And that's what I would love. I would love that was like a thing, that we didn't have to split the resources. But the way that devs and studios work nowadays is it is a sort of all or nothing push on one or two IPs, it feels like. So yeah, I know I can't get backwards compatibility and sweet remasters on everything, or else I'm not going to get new stuff.
What do you think?
I think it depends on what the... Like, for instance, Final Fantasy VII Remake. So people were going on, like, the fans were going on about it for years and years and years. And it was sort of teased at PlayStation 3 time. And then 5 millennia later, we finally get it, So, but there's those, like, Mass Effect, we were just chatting about that before we came live. There's those games that sort of changed a generation of gaming into something else for people. And they're really loved for that reason. I think game devs should put time into remastering them so that a new generation of gamers can enjoy those stories and have that magical moment. Like Final Fantasy VII was more like a remake because they changed the game mechanics, and people were really annoyed that it wasn't ATB anymore, and that sort of thing. But the mechanics were good. I enjoyed them. And I'm very like, I want to control every character, but this is actually okay. I don't mind this. And it's only after I played the demo that I pre-ordered it, because I was like, I am going to hate this. And I was surprised. So there's certain things that I think are good, or if a storyline's continuing on, it's good to give people that maybe only have that gen or starting that gen, that's where their gaming passion starts, the opportunity to play the storyline that's got the game to this point. So I think there is a point to it. Going back to your point earlier, what you were saying about consoles and buying your back catalog of consoles to be able to play games, yes, I think that works to a point, but I don't think technology is necessarily built to last now. So, for instance, give you a couple of examples of this. One was my Xbox One. So,
are you gonna say Red Ring of Death?
No, I didn't. No, but no, no.
I'm still traumatized. Don't mention that, please.
No, I think I did have that as well, actually, on my 360. But my Xbox One, they brought out the Xbox One X and the Project Scorpio edition, so I pre-ordered one of them because my Xbox One was on its last legs. I mean, the fans, it was like an aircraft was taken off. And I didn't have the console that long. I didn't buy it at launch. It was like halfway through the next year that I bought that console. And this was only a few years later. And I was like, what? Surely this should be built to last the life cycle of the console generation at least. And I just traded it in, I'm sure, just in time before it went bye-bye. And also, my PS3. So, a long time ago, I was off ill and I decided to watch an anime series that I had on disc. PS3, stuck. Original PS3, bought it in launch, got stuck. There's no hard reset to take the disc out. And I just got really, oh my god, the swearing in my house. Me lying on the sofa, dying. Just put this on to take my mind off the pain. And then it just broke. And I was like, you are fucking kidding me. So I get a screwdriver out, I get a hammer out, and I'm like, fuck you, piece of shit. I cannot believe this, and I just ripped the thing apart because I already had it in to be repaired twice. So it's all well and good going back and buying the consoles, but will they last? I think once we get into like the generation of PS3, that is whenever consoles' lifespan dropped. Where if you pick up a SNES, that'll go through a nuclear bomb.
I mean, I kind of agree and disagree at the same time, because like I had a PS3. And I had no problems with it. I had two different versions. So originally when it first came out, I had the first fat one that played PS1 and PS2 games. Ended up getting rid of that at some point and got another one later on down the line, which didn't have that PS1, PS2 infrastructure in there. Never had any problem with either of those. The second one lasted me all the way through to the launch of the PS4. I sold that once I got my PS4. And my PS4 that I have that's in my bedroom now is a launch day PS4. It's an original one. And I've had, apart from the last 6 months where I've had a few bits with the disc spitting out and fans a little bit louder than usual because, the games are pushing graphical boundaries on the machine. But I've had no other issues with it. I've never had it crash or die on me or anything like that. I've not had to send it to be repaired or anything. So, and you look at things like this PS1 that I've got here. It's not my original, but it's somebody's original. It's an original 1999 PS1, and it's still going now. I don't know. There's that argument with anything when it comes to technology. Like, all three of us could buy the PlayStation 5, for example, and maybe one of us has one that fails, and that's not down to the console not being built to last. It's just one dodgy machine.
Oh, touch wood, that doesn't happen because we are all buying the PS5.
Yeah. But I feel like that.
We'll be phoning him up going, Beardy,
it's you
jinxed us.
Fucking jinxed us. So yeah, I'd kind of feel like there's always going to be those second-hand systems and stuff around. Like, they're still readily available now. I can walk into Manchester Arndale tomorrow with my mask on, socially distanced, and pick up...
Are you allowed out?
Yeah, I'm allowed out at the minute. And pick up a PS2 and it work and it'd be fine, like, and it'll last me for a little bit. I mean, the only reason that I actually want to get those consoles is for streaming, is to go back and play some old games, like. But it's only in this last 12 months that's been like not a priority, but a thought process that I'm like, oh, it'd be really cool to play through Mass Effect again, which I've got on my Xbox One S. But even then, today I was talking about in the chat, my One S is got the Wi-Fi issue, so it's just not connecting to Wi-Fi, which is an absolute pain in the backside.
Aww.
So, you know, swings and roundabouts.
You can get cream for that, you know.
Yeah, I know. What do you think about this kind of split between native compatibility, like the Xbox ecosystem has, and something like PlayStation Now, which has like a selective catalog of backwards compatible games that you can play? PS2 games, PS3 games, no PS1 games though, because they just don't want to put those on there yet. Do you think which one has the right way around it? A subscription service where you pay, I don't know, I think it's £50 for the year or something, to have a library of, I think it's like 800 games now or something ridiculous.
But is Xbox is not part of the Game Pass, and PlayStation it is just purely for the backward compatible you'd be paying.
So
it's not anything new, is
well,
it?
Currently, PlayStation Now is sitting at 650 plus games, and it's PlayStation 4 games. You know, they had at the minute they've got Days Gone on there, which is a recent release. They had Doom on there for a little bit. They have recent games. It's not Game Pass level of kind of games that are on there, but there is more legacy console games on there with PS3 and PS2 games, whereas with the Game Pass selection, yeah, there's some 360 games and Xbox One games on there, but I don't think there's as many games on there as there is on PlayStation Now. Let me have a look.
Yeah, I mean, for the Xbox, a lot of the games, if I've still got the disc, I can just stick them in and they'll still work.
Yeah.
With the exception of Naughty Bear. I swear they're picking on me. They're griefing me. But yeah, I mean, they built in that sort of native backwards compatibility, but only for some games. And I guess it depends on how they were developed and maybe what engine they use or whatever. Something far more technical than my pea-brain can understand, I'm sure. But I think both, you know, whatever's available is good. It just depends on what... To be fair, for me, it depends on what game I'm after. Is it available there, or do I have to buy an emulator? Or how can I play it? That's what it comes down to. How can I play the game that I want to play? I'll find a way.
Find a way. I will find it and I will play it.
I will play Naughty Bear. You will not stop.
You are Naughty Bear.
Me and Diddles were like that.
I think there's about 400 games on Game Pass at the minute.
You're like our little researcher, you.
I've just got the Google on the side, you know. Oh, there's 398 games on Game Pass at the minute.
Approximately.
It's what they're saying. It's on their official Xbox website. So, yeah, and they've got 360 games and stuff on there as well. But Game Pass tends to have more new releases and newer games than what PlayStation Now has.
I don't understand though, like, why can't they just, if they're gonna have like native backward compatibility where you can just, like, we can put in our discs from 360 or the original Xbox and they'll upload and play, surely that's using some sort of emulation software that would then mean that should be able to read any disc from that generation realistically.
Well, I think the way that it's slightly different between how Microsoft does things and how PlayStation has done things is when you look at Microsoft as a history and the way consoles have been made, it was the original Xbox was running a version of Windows, and it was made out of Windows compartments, components. That's the word I was looking for.
Components.
And even its name, the Xbox comes from, originally it was known as the Direct Xbox because it wanted to run DirectX software, games and stuff that were developed in that software. So they've had a really long lineage with their systems being built off the back of PC architecture. So I think that their ability to kind of carry things forward is a lot easier, whereas PlayStation, PS1 and PS2's processors were very similar, but obviously one was more powerful than the other. And then when they moved to PS3, they went into this like nano processor thing that they did, which was notoriously difficult to develop for and everything else. And I think that's where the issue came in between the original SKUs and the PS3, because they were running off two different types of processors, whereas the original fat PS3s had a PS2 processor in there, which then switched into a backwards compatibility mode, and because the PS2 processor could run PS1 games, that's how they got away with it. But that's what made it so expensive, because you had two consoles effectively in one. And then moving past PS3, they went into a more PC orientated PS4, and then obviously the PS5 is the same way, which is why I think you're getting such a mass majority. I think it's like the 4,000 games, it's 99% of them are backwards compatible on PS5 from PS4, and I think they've released like a list of 10 games that aren't going to work, which are probably like the 10 most obscure games I've ever heard one of, apart from Hitman Go. That's probably the only one that I know.
You're like, how does your brain retain all that information? I'm like, oh, it's
He's got it
shining.
written down. He must have it written down.
I don't.
Does he?
No, that's nothing.
Do you know it?
You guys have got the notes in front of you, the same notes that I have.
I always feel
You say that like I printed them off.
I always feel like I learn something whenever I have cast with you. Like,
Oh, you're welcome.
always...
The truth is that I am such a fucking nerd that I will literally lay in bed at night reading shit, Wikipedia and all this other fucking all that kind of random crap. Like, I digest all of that. When I'm in the bath, I'll watch YouTube videos on like how PlayStation was built and all that kind of shit. So don't worry about it. It's nothing to do with your lack of knowledge. It's just my uber geekiness.
Oh no, I think it's really cool, but we do need to get you laid or a boyfriend or something.
Alright.
Yeah. That'll beat that out of you.
Jeremy's fine, alright. Just leave Jeremy out of it.
After the lockdown.
Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy. After lockdown.
Yeah. Because you guys are naughty. You're on tier 3 now, aren't you?
Yeah. No. Andy Burnham said no.
Oh, sorry.
We're still in tier 2.
You're going on tier 3.
We're going there though. So yeah, PlayStation Now versus native backwards compatibility. I think if you're gonna do it, I think native's probably the way forward. But I understand why PlayStation has such an issue. The one thing that I don't get though is why they don't have software emulation. Because that's something you can do on PC.
Yeah.
Right? And if the Xbox is built off of PC architecture, why can't they just... I would pay my queendom for an emulator that would just let me play my old games.
Yeah. I think some of it comes down to licensing as well, because maybe the original companies that made the games don't longer exist anymore, or maybe they don't have the rights to those published games. There was a couple of years ago, I think, was it a load of Marvel games got pulled from the PlayStation Store and Steam and stuff because they'd lost the rights to sell those games, which then came and brought back up this whole conversation of, yeah, it's all well and good having digital games, but once that digital license has been removed, you have no way to play those games unless you have a physical copy.
Yeah, and that is the downside of digital anything, really. I'm going to show my age here now. I was listening to my some playlists that I'd made of just like songs that I'd liked on my Amazon Music, and Avril Lavigne has always featured heavily in my playlists because I'm a bit of a pop punk princess, obviously. And half of the Avril Lavigne songs are they've just disappeared. I can't listen to them anymore, even though I bought them, have paid for them, and could listen to them. Now they're just gone because she's taken their license back, or they no longer hold the license, or whatever it is. Whereas if I go through the boxes in my loft and dig out the CD that I physically bought, I can listen to that anytime I want.
Yeah.
But then I have to lug around a CD everywhere I move, which is clearly working well because it's still in a box in my loft.
With the CD.
With the Avril Lavigne CD.
So
now I'll never know what happened.
That leads into a good point that I've got on my little list of talking points and stuff, which is, how often do you actually take advantage of backwards compatibility? It's all well going, oh yeah, like, it's such an important feature, like, it definitely needs to be something, but do you actually use it? Like, when was the last time you played an old generation game on your current generation system because you really had the feeling to do it? Or is it something that you don't really use but you champion anyway?
I use it more in the beginning. So when the new console came out, the Xbox One X games, they didn't, you didn't get like 50 games all at once, and the ones that did come out were like 60, 70 pounds, which is not on sale. And so, you'd get like the game that came with the console. I could maybe squeeze one more game out my wife before it was too much. And then it was, what are my 360 games that I can stick in there and still play? But then as time went on, games came out on the new generation and I got more into those. And so probably not often now do I use, like I was saying, I went on Mass Effect 1 the other week because I thought, everyone knows I have such a soft spot in my heart for that series. But the first game looked so terrible on my TV because, my system is optimized for gaming now, not gaming as it was back in 2001 or whatever. And it took some of the shine off my memory of it. So I turned it off and I was like, I'm just going to remember it how it was. I don't want to sully the memory. So yeah, not often the further you get from the old console, I think, unless you're having like a retro day and you want to play something. For me, anyway. I don't know about you, Tig. What do you think?
I would sort of tend to agree. So I had a little hankering for some SSX awesomeness probably about a year ago. Just sat here one day and I was like, God, I wish they'd just remaster Tricky or something. I was like, oh, I wonder if the SSX they did for the 360 is actually on the backward compatibility list. And I went, I had such a fun day. I really enjoyed myself. And it's nice to have whenever you have those moments, but I guess we don't have those moments that often anymore. I mean, games with gold, they sometimes have an old game, like a 360 game on there that I'll be like, yeah, I want to play that. I played Beyond Good and Evil on the Xbox One X because I'd never played the game the first time around. I'd seen the trailer for this supposed sequel that's coming out that just looked absolutely fantastic. And I was like, this is a game I really want to play. I was like, oh, I can totally play it. Awesome. So I think if it comes into it, like I was saying before, like if it's a series and you maybe see the next one's coming out in that gen, it's nice that they have backwards compatibility so you can play the start of the story. Because Beyond Good and Evil, I was like, what? Because I don't really do spoilers or anything. And the storyline in that game's it is really, really cool. And the way they do everything and all the rest, and there's a few twists and turns, and you're like, the fuck? I'm so glad I played this before I played the second, because the second looks really good because I'm a graphics whore. So I was like, yep, I want to play this. Space Pirates, fuck that. Yes, I am there. So yeah, so I would say not so often, but I want to have the option of going back and doing those, like playing those stories and stuff. For me, I'm a one-time playthrough. It's very rare that I'll play something more than one time because I want to go and experience a new story somewhere else. But like there's some classics that they brought out recently, like Onimusha. If you've never played Onimusha, go and play it. It's on the Xbox store. I think it's on the PlayStation store as well. It is hilarious. They have got the campus cheesiest demon bad guy Nobunaga that I have ever seen in a game, and he's like And it's just, it's so much fun. I love it. It is so cool. And that started a whole genre of games, that game. Like, and it's nice that people have the opportunity to go and do that sort of stuff. So I would say, yeah, it's rare, but it's also important to allow people to have that access to those things.
I think, yeah, I would agree with that as well. Like, for me personally, it's not that often that I'm like, oh, I really want to go back and play. Let's really dig in the box here, like Metal Gear Solid, like a game that I absolutely love from PS1. Like, and every now and again I will stick it on, fire it up on the old PlayStation. But like, in terms of like how much I use backwards compatibility, it's not really that often. Like, it's only when you get those moments of like, oh, do you know what? I really just want to play, I don't know, Dead Space or something like that, like that you need to kind of go back and look at backwards compatibility. I think the really interesting thing is more so around on this generation with, especially on the PlayStation side of things, is this smart delivery. So this thing of, okay, so if you just, it's coming to the end of the generation, you buy, I don't know, Cyberpunk 2077, you start it off on your PlayStation 4, and then when you get the PlayStation 5 version, there's no extra charge for that. You'll just put it into your PlayStation 5 and it will download, or Xbox Series X, and it will download the updated version of that game that you can then play, so you don't have to buy it twice. I think that's really important. And I also think that something like the PlayStation Collection is really a cool idea, because if they put games on there like Horizon Zero Dawn, for example, maybe you didn't play PS4 or play that game or anything like that. Oh, you like, what's the
that was his drunk dial purchase last night.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I got home last night drunk, and Beauty and Sif were trying to chat me into Horizon Zero Dawn, and I was like, "It's on sale!" I was laughing. It's on sale. Okay, I'm getting this game, and then I woke up this morning and I was like, "Oh shit, I've bought things." Oh, okay.
Well, if you'd have been smart about it, you could have got Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete collection thing with the Frozen Wilds and everything else, and a PlayStation 4 controller for 40 quid on Prime Day yesterday.
I got it for a tenner for the complete edition, so you know.
Okay, that's a better deal. I'll give you that.
So
sale!
So maybe you didn't buy that or whatever. And the PlayStation Collection seems to have a lot of games that were big this generation, that there's a few sequels coming out to it in the next generation. I think that's a really good in point for people that maybe didn't get around to playing those games. It's part of your PlayStation Plus subscription or whatever it is. I think that's really interesting, and I would have liked to see Xbox do something like that, and maybe make, I mean, they've got a lot of their first parties on Game Pass anyway, but kind of like putting a collection together to kind of go, okay, so we're working on Gears 6, but like here's the Gears side of things to catch yourself up on, or something like that.
Yeah. I think that, like Tig said, the back catalog of an ongoing story, I think that's important. Even if they're standalone stories, you still like to understand like the lore of the world that you're going into, and sort of the, you know, how everything works. But yeah, on a standalone game that maybe you're not going to play, is it worth the devs putting all that time and effort into a game that you're going to play twice in the next 10 years?
Bust a Groove, yes. SSX Tricky, yes. We will all play those games online.
So we need a cold case squad, and we need to pick the games, I think, is where we're going with this, Beardy. Can you make that happen, please?
I'll email my contact at Sony Interactive Entertainment right now and get it sorted out.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
So, final thoughts on today's topic. What do you think? Is it that important?
I mean, I started off with hell yeah, but now we've talked about it, I think hell yeah. So like slightly muted, like a slightly lower. I still think it's important, because I do think video games are artwork, and I think they should be as widely available as possible. Whether that means you keep your old consoles or buy new old consoles when the old consoles break, or you get an emulator and play on your PC, or you watch YouTube videos of somebody else playing it. However you get your fix, I think the fix needs to be available. And I know I sound like a junkie when I say that, but I'm all right with that because this is important.
Shit.
Tiggs,
Oh, we've gone down we always go down a new
we always
road
end
each
up
episode.
that's the whole
Yeah.
point. Tiggs, what's your final thoughts on it?
I think yes. Like that whole Beyond Good and Evil is a good example for me. So like I think it is important to be able to do that and not do things like what the guys that make GTA do and make people buy the game twice and 3 and 4 and 5 times for every single bloody console. Like that's not like that. It really isn't on. Talk about milking the cash cow. I mean, people will do it, but no, I think they need to do it in an affordable way. If you're going to be playing something from years and years and years ago, and if you haven't put a lot of time into it and you are just emulating it, then the price should reflect that. It shouldn't be premium. Like the Super Mario collection that's come out now has got well slated for how they've done those games. Should they be 50 quid for those 3 games? Should they? Did they put the amount of time into it to make it that price? You know, if they're going to do things like that, they need to do them at the right price point, and not it be through the roof. But for me, I think, yeah, it is. I loved being able to go back and play that game. I like being able to go and get an SSX fix whenever I have the urge, because there's no games that's quite like SSX and how they do things. So whenever you've got like certain games that do something really well, it's nice to be able to go back and do that. So yeah, I would say yeah. How about you, Beardy?
I would say that I kind of stand by my original statement, which is I think it's good, but I just don't think it's that important. And I think when you look back and you think about how you play games or what games you play, or you know, even as much use that you get out of it, I don't think anybody really, I mean, I'm probably totally wrong here, but as a general kind of like tying everybody together with the same brush, I don't think that many people make as much use out of backwards compatibility as I think the majority of people make out that it is, because of how important it is, if that makes sense. I think a lot of people make a lot of noise about how important it is, but when you really boil it down to the meat and potatoes, I don't really think people are using it that much. And I think that's probably, it is what it is.
And did you just make a meat and 2 veg reference?
No, I said meat and potatoes.
I heard meat and 2 veg.
That's what I heard as well. I was like, oh girl.
That's because you're both filth bags. I just realised at the top of the show, in our very, very, very professional introduction, I forgot housekeeping. So I'm going to slip that in there now. So housekeeping for this episode. We've appeared on Apple Podcast. I don't know how it happened. I didn't submit, but it turned up on Apple Podcasts, which is really cool. So if you listen to Apple Podcasts, you can find us on there, as well as Spotify and other podcast services. It's October. 'Tis the month of the spooky. So we are going to do some special Halloween episodes later on in the month. So make sure that you like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff, to keep informed with all that stuff. I believe
on the Halloween thing. On the Halloween thing,
yes.
So I went hunting. So I don't do scary. I'm not like you. I'm not a full grown up.
Yeah.
So but I do love the Silent Hill films. So I went hunting for them, and I've got them, and I'm going to watch them on Halloween. Now you will probably hear me scream from both of your houses.
Probably.
The cats are gonna have very, very interesting evening of me sat there like this with a pillow, going,
We'll stream it and I'll watch it together.
Yeah. I mean, that
I'll
won't
do
be
that.
embarrassing for me at all.
No, it'll be fine.
I almost got kicked out of a cinema once for shouting "Jesus fuck cunts" at a movie because it scared me, and the woman in front of me got very upset. I swear when I get scared, it's a defense reaction.
Mechanism.
Oh,
Well,
I totally love it.
Speaking of streaming, we will be doing some spooky streams, so we're just planning some bits with Siforius as to what we're going to be playing and who's going to be playing it, and I would love to get Tiggs on to do some scary game streaming, but we'll see how that goes. And
Right.
as we wrap up the topic of today's show, it's a good point to slide in there that we're going to be running a poll on our Twitter over at Games Assemble to see how important backwards compatibility is to you people listening at home. So head across there and drop a vote on the options that will be available after the show.
Yeah, tell us what's important to you guys, because
we
it's
want
just us
to
three
know.
talking shit. We want to know what's important to you.
Let us know in the comments and stuff below if you're watching this on YouTube, or hit us up in the chat if you're watching live on Twitch.
Yeah, hit us up, baby. Hit
us up. So, now that we've wrapped up on that topic, I want to know what you've been playing, Tiggs.
Oh, before I tell you what I've been playing, can I show everybody something?
Oh yes.
Oh,
we
do you need a drum roll?
I do need.
We have a Gamers Assemble exclusive reveal of Tiggs's new tattoo. So
He's gonna take off all his clothes for you people on audio. So sorry you're missing this.
For all you Kingdom Hearts fans, you're gonna have to tell me if you can see it in my camera properly.
Up a bit.
Is this
yeah.
There we go.
Oh, the colors on that are awesome. I love that. I don't know why I'm like, oh, if I move to the side, I can.
Yeah. So it's my own
tattoo.
version of Sora's stained glass window. So a big shout out to Nate at Manchester Tattoo Emporium, who designed that little beauty. I'm well pleased.
Oh, it does look really
so
good.
there you go, Nate. That's your plug.
Oh, I like that. I might need to get him. Well, when I can travel up to Manchester and you guys aren't quarantined, maybe I'll go hit him up and see what I can get done.
Oh my God.
I'm in the mood too.
He is amazing. The guys are really good cracking there as well. Oh, the conversations. It's like us three whenever we have a conversation. So it was good fun. So anyway, what am I playing? So I have been playing... So I finished Never Alone, the story about the Inuit girl and the wolf. And my God, it is absolutely fantastic. If you can get a hold of it, if you have it, you downloaded it in Games with Gold and it's just sat there in your back catalogue thinking, oh, I don't know, do it. It is art. The story that it tells is Inuit fairy tales, and as you go along the game, you collect little owls. You might need to translate that into English.
Owls.
Owls.
Yes, you get little owls. Yeah. They make... Oh. And
Sorry, Irish translation over. Go ahead.
Right, that was a really good translation. I'm blushing now. I'm not just red from sunburn. I'm actually blushing. So then it gives you little videos, and all those little videos turn into like a half-hour documentary about the Inuit way of life and where the some of the lore came from for the game. I was like,
oh, that sounds
really
so cool.
I love this. So I completed that. So that's one of the things. Been playing a little bit of Spellbreak with Llama. I played a little bit of Rocket League and Among Us. And today I played the new Kingdom Hearts demo, you know, for the Symphony of whatever, the Switch game.
Right, yeah.
That was quite interesting, actually. A little bit hectic in places, but it was quite and I love the Kingdom Hearts music anyway, so
Yeah.
it was interesting. Will I pick it up at full price? Probably not. Might get it later on down the line though.
When it's on sale.
On sale!
Sale!
The other really fun thing that I played today, a little bit of the demo because I had to take the cats to the vet for their shots, was Pikmin 3.
Oh, I love Pikmin.
So,
What's a Pikmin?
oh my God, Google a Pikmin on your phone. Google it in your phone. They're so cute.
It's like munting. Am I going to get something terrible?
No.
So, Pikmin's a game where this little spaceman lands on a planet full of Pikmins, and he uses the Pikmins to build his spaceship and stuff. That was the first game anyway. I didn't play 2 or 3, but I'm really looking forward to picking it up.
So, I remember playing the first one and the second whenever they were out, and I remember really having fond memories of Pikmin. And I was like, will I actually like this? Is this just something... Because it seemed like the concept, everything about it is just a bit of an odd thing. And, you know, you basically go to these guys' planet and just use and abuse them, really, to do all your dirty work. I mean, it's
Colonizers. I like it.
Yeah, you just... I am your overlord. Let me blow my whistle and you'll just assemble. But it was hella fun. really good fun today. I'm going to go back and finish the ass of that demo, and I might even buy that game because I thought it was just going to be a nostalgic thing
Yeah.
for me. I thought it was going to be pure nostalgia. I'll start playing it and go, yeah, that was me 10 years ago, not now. And I'm like, no, it's
It's still
fun.
me.
Yeah, it's still
It's
me.
still
That was a
me.
knee-slapping good review. Did you see that, Beer?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
It was good. It made me smile today. I love
Yeah.
it when a game makes you smile.
Yeah,
So it was really good fun.
Do love me some Pikmin.
Yeah.
Llama, what have you been playing?
I've had the week off this week because I've got too much holiday at work. So I had this week off and next week, so I've been playing lots of video games. I thought I was going to spend a lot of time on Fallout 76, but as normal, they put out a new patch and nerfed the bloody builds. So my favorite characters are shite. So I canceled my Fallout First subscription in a paddy, and then realized that no, I still want that, so I'm gonna have to re-up it at the end of the month. But I was angry, damn it. I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2. I picked that up on Game Pass, and the two of the expansions were included, so it got Forsaken and Shadowkeep. The problem with Destiny is that it doesn't tell you like what you're supposed to be doing, like what story you're supposed to be doing. It's like everything's available all at once, and it's very confusing. And I ended up doing the Shadowkeep expansion, which I think was the second expansion. And now I've just started the Forsaken, which is actually the first expansion. So it's starting to explain why certain things were the way they were, because they happened in this one and I had skipped it.
Yeah.
Still great game. Loving the game. I'm currently clanless. So if anybody watching knows of like a cool, like queer women's clan or something like that, hit me up, let me know. I love playing with clans on Destiny. You get lots of extra stuff by doing that. So please let me know. I spent like a grand total of 15 minutes playing Sea of Thieves. So the first 10 minutes was doing the tutorial and like getting my ship and everything ready. Literally less than 5 minutes in the open sea, and I had been keel hauled, boarded, stabbed, my boat sunk, and they stole my apple. And I was like, that's it, I'm out, I'm done. I got griefed. That was, I know, that was the end of my Sea of Thieves. I'm clearly not that good of a pirate. I tried an older game that was on Game Pass, which is interesting because we ended up talking about backward compatibility today. But it's Star Trek Online. I love Star Trek, and I'd never played Star Trek Online. And I love me a character creation screen, so I thought I'm gonna spend ages in here. And I did. I made like a sassy captain. I loved it. I posted a picture of her on my Instagram, so if you look at Dotted Llama 08 on Instagram, you'll see my feed. And my captain is like the sassiest. She's sitting in her captain's chair like this. She's just angry. I don't know. She's angry that she's there in terrible graphics because the graphics are old. They're old, you know. That's fine. But the ship combat mechanics were terrible. It felt more like a button masher. And maybe it was just because I was in the first couple levels. It didn't really grab me, so I played that the one time and moved on. I did notice though that Kingdom Hearts has come onto Game Pass, so I will have a look at that. Although I'm not promising anything, Tiggs. I may hate it. It's not my sort of wasteland killing people on other planets sort of game.
It's fine. I'll say just get through Alice in Wonderland initially, and then that's whenever you start to really fall into the storyline and everything.
Okay, is that the bad? Is that like the snow level on Red Dead Redemption, where it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, let's go?
Yeah, it's where you start to really find out how everything's sort of working and what the storyline is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it's all right.
I'll give it a go. Yeah, and I'll report back and tell you if I like Kingdom. But yeah, the main game for me at the minute is Destiny. Getting back into it. I played Destiny 1 for years, absolutely loved it. And Destiny 2 has just sort of carried on that whole thing. It's like the world's expanded. It's not really it's not a different world. You know,
Yeah.
you feel like you're still in the same game. You've just got more planets to explore and more stories to do. So they've done it really well. I do love the Destiny. It's amazing.
I do like Destiny.
That's what I've been doing this week, and also housework because I'm an adult.
Yeah, adulting. Well, for me, as you know, I've had some issues with my Xbox, so I really wanted to jump on and play some Destiny with the Llama, but I can't get it to connect to the internet. So, but I
saved you some guns.
Ooh, I finally finished the main story for Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Well done!
Which...
There you go, girl!
Because you were clearing every region, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm currently on 80 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
I stopped doing that because I started to get to the point where I was like, I just want this to be over with now. Like, I've had enough. I don't know what the story is anymore. I don't know what my objective is. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, so
What's the point of life?
At 108 hours, I rolled credits on the initial story. So I now have got the 2 DLCs to play through.
Oh shit, man. 2 years later, he's going to be ready for Valhalla.
So I'm kind of like, well, my Xbox isn't working, so I'm not going to be playing it on there anytime soon. So I kind of feel like maybe I might just give it a rest on there and come back to it at another point to finish off the DLCs. Because I don't think the DLCs really add that much that was gonna change the path.
You want to play it while you're having fun.
Yeah, and but by the time I got to the end of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I was like, I started out really enjoying this game, and I finished it kind of not enjoying it that much because the ties just for the story and stuff just don't seem to kind of line up towards the end, and it just doesn't land in a satisfying kind of this is the end of the game kind of way. So a little bit, I'm just going to leave that to one side and chill my Assassin's Creed-ness until Valhalla comes out. But, you know, I love me some open world shenanigans. So then I went back to Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh god.
And I've been playing that pretty hard. So I think I'm like just started Act 3, so I'm pretty close to finishing this game, which is good because I don't think I've got 100 and something hours to put into this game. So I'm going to try and get that finished off. I've also been playing a little bit of Detroit Become Human, which I don't know if any of you
What is that? I keep hearing people talking about it, and I keep thinking I'm gonna Google it, and then I'm a lazy ass.
So I'm actually really very interesting. So it's about a robotics company that makes androids, and they become kind of like every house has got one from the lowest income to the highest income, and they turn out to be helpers. So think of it as like a walking, talking Siri. So like they ask it to do stuff, it cleans the house, like it looks after the children, it cooks, it cleans, all that kind of stuff.
Like that show, was it Channel 4 Humans? Or
yeah. So pretty much it's like that. But you play as 3 different characters. One of them is a girl, female android that has been sent to a repair shop, and her primary job was to look after this child. And it turns out that the father is very abusive, and the reason that it needed a repair in the first place is because it beat the shit out of it and it ran it over and all this other fucking stuff. The second...
Does she have a gun attachment?
Well, she picks up a gun.
Nice.
So,
all right.
The second one is a detective, so he's working with a human detective about these android crimes that are coming up. Androids are attacking people and all this other stuff. And then the last one is a guy that starts out as a helping hand to a famous artist, but then it turns out there's a little bit more going on with him than meets the eye. And it's all about these androids kind of becoming a bit self-aware and starting to think for themselves. So it's very much along the lines of, have you played Until Dawn or anything like that? So it's like there's certain sections where you can walk around and stuff, but it's very much like you're investigating things that you'll find on the ground to like look for clues and stuff as the detective, for example, and then you'll go. All of that will then build up into a point where you have options and dialogue and stuff, and your choices then branch off in different ways for you to result in the outcome of that particular game segment. So it's not like Destiny or anything like that where you're running around and kind of shooting and looting and all that kind of stuff. It's like, here is your character and this is the narrative, and you need to kind of navigate and make choices in that particular scene, and the outcome is whatever choices end up coming together at the end of it. So that's been pretty cool. It's pretty chill. There's not much, like, it's kind of more of a sit back kind of chill out game. You let the story kind of unfold in front of you, which is really good. And then the other thing is, even though we didn't give it a very favourable preview on the beta weekend.
Here we go.
But I've got this real desire to play Avengers. Even though I know it's probably a fucking huge mistake and it's probably not that good. And I know that everybody's like got its frustrations with it and stuff, but I just kind of want to play it at the same time.
Fair,
Who do you?
I know people that have got the game whenever it was released, and they've said really positive things about the storyline missions and stuff. So, you know...
And that's the thing, like, I really want to experience what the story is. I want the single-player side of that story. It's just, once we get past that, I don't know if I'm ever going to kind of get into raiding and stuff, unless there was more people to play it along with. So, like... if Sif had it and Tiggs had it, or you Llama had it, like if we had a little team of people to play it with, then I'd probably be more into it. But I kind of feel like I'm gonna
make everything better.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm gonna just pick it up and do the story, and then just never touch it again until something big happens. Like, so I don't know. And then what's the other game that I've been playing? I forgot now. I forgot to put in a list.
You didn't prepare?
I know.
I
Jesus,
didn't even add my bits to the notes this week.
So it was Ratchet and Clank. So
yeah.
I played a little bit of that. I'm gonna go back through it though. It was fun what I played. I literally only played maybe 20 minutes, half an hour if that. So
I have a question about Ratchet and Clank.
Yes.
Okay, so I have this theory that the only people that are allowed to do successful platformers are Nintendo. And that tainted my experience with playing platformers in other consoles for quite a long time.
Okay.
I mean, I played Crash and stuff, but for me, they just missed that Mario magic. Does Ratchet and Clank have that magic?
I'm not far enough in there to tell you, to be honest with you.
Right.
I literally, like I said, I played 20 minutes, half an hour at the most. Like... And what I played was fun. It reminds me of the Crash Bandicoot remakes that they did. Like, it's that kind of cartoony style. It's a little bit more explorative than Crash games. But it was fun. There was a few chuckles and stuff that I had in there while I was playing. But it was one of those nights where I was like, I don't know what to play. I just want something chill to kind of like just mess around in. So yeah, and then the other thing finally is I'm doing a bit of a trophy hunt, so I'm gonna start going through and just trying to box off a few platinums here and there that I'm nearly done with. So yeah, that's what I've been. Yeah, it started with Spider-Man.
How are you getting on with your national decks?
My national decks is been put on the back burner for a bit. I've not been playing Pokemon that much recently, but the new expansion comes out soon, so I'll probably jump back into that then. When does it come out, Crown?
He's left all creamy. Llama, I don't know about this.
I know. Well, I saw that the Digimon thing got pushed back for a year, but I wasn't sure whether Digimon was part of Pokemon. Like, they sound like they're related, but I don't know.
No.
Digimon is way better than Pokemon.
22nd of October is when the Crown Tundra shall launch, so I'd imagine around that point. Let's have a little look. And 22nd is next Thursday, so I'll probably be charging up the DS and stuff this next week, and I'll get Pokemon vibes again and start playing Pokemon non-stop for like 4 days or something.
Gotta catch them all.
Do you put the theme tune on when you play it?
We've already discussed this. I like to, like, if I'm playing through or like Alpha Sapphire, which is one that I've got going on the side, trying to get all the Pokemons in there. Sorry, Omega Ruby. I will have Pokemon Ruby Sapphire, the TV series, playing in the background while I'm playing Pokemon games. Like, that's my thing. That's what I like enjoying doing.
Do you know what? Whenever you said that, I just think that's pretty cool. And I didn't know what that says. If that says more about me or more about you. That the minute you said that, I just went, "Oh, that's really cool."
Yeah. Take from that
Super
what you will.
nerds.
Yeah, take that from what you will. Well, I guess we should probably wrap this bad boy up. Look at us in a decent time.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, because we're professionals.
Yeah,
we're influencers.
We did this quite well today. There's no reader well this week, so boo, you all suck. No, I'm joking. Right into us.
Someone send us something cool.
Right into us. Yeah, gamersassemble@gmail.com. Let us know what your thoughts and feelings are on backwards compatibility or any other topics that we've discussed, and we will read them out as soon as we get one. Or you can just drop us some messages on Twitter or Instagram or even on the YouTube comments, and we'll pick those up and we'll throw those into reader mail as well.
And also, if you want to see a new segment, like maybe, you know, where I teach you a new word from Urban Dictionary that you didn't know. Like learning with llama, that can happen. Let us know.
Yeah.
I didn't know
I have a wealth of words.
Yeah.
You know, if I'd be allowed to teach anything there.
No, we're not gonna go down that path. That was a pre-show discussion. Right, let's wrap this up very quickly. As always, you can find us on all the social medias at Gamers Assembled. Give us a follow, give us a subscribe, like us, share us, tell us all your friends about us, because Lord knows we'd like people to listen to us and have us in their ears and eyes and stuff on a regular basis. We'll have another show coming a little bit later on this week, and we are working hard to get more weekly shows and stuff to you, but we all have adult life jobs and other bits and bobs that kind of get in the way sometimes, so we really apologise if the content's not quite weekly, but we will get videos and stuff out to you as soon as we can. Until next time, say goodbye, Tiggs.
Goodbye, Tiggs.
Say goodbye, Llama.
Goodbye, llama.
Oh, that was sexy.
That was in her best chapter 3 voice, that wasn't it?
Whoa.
Good. Yeah.
Oh. And as always, I've been the Beta Gamer, so thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Thank you and good night!
Bye!
Okay.